On today's show, trash talk already happening ahead of the Iron Bowl. Bo Nix, he may not be playing, but he's certainly trying to fuel the fire. Also, big job openings at LSU in Florida. Who are some names to watch for? We'll run through some of the latest betting odds on who could get those jobs, and we'll give you the SEC Week 12 Players of the Week. Locked on SEC starts right now.
You are Locked On SEC, your daily podcast on the Southeastern Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is happening, everybody? Welcome into Locked On SEC. Great to have you guys along. Today's episode is brought to you by Sonos. Sonos is the official sponsor of ESPN College Football. Go to Sonos.com to learn more. I am Chris Gordy. Thank you guys for making Locked On SEC your first listen every day. Remember, Locked On SEC is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube and at LockedOnSEC.com. Got plenty to discuss. Let's jump into it. Let's go around the conference.
Boots out to the right. Takes the handoff. What a catch!
Around the conference.
And we start over at Arkansas. Sam Pittman giving an update on wide receiver Treylon Burks, saying he is expected to be fine this week for the Missouri game on Friday. Star wide receiver was, quote, beat up last week against Alabama. Burks caught 8 passes for 179 yards and 2 touchdowns in the 42-35 loss to the Crimson Tide. He was able to practice on Sunday, Sam Pittman told reporters. So should see Treylon Burks out there on Friday. Over in Florida, with Dan Mullen being relieved of his duties on Sunday, Greg Knox got the news that he would be Florida's interim head coach. Mullen was given the option to coach the Gators against rival Florida State on Saturday in their finale, but he declined, and that paved the way for Greg Knox to have his chance. Knox was Florida's running backs coach and special teams coordinator this year. He was on Dan Mullen's staff at Mississippi State back when Dan Mullen accepted the Florida job 4 years ago. That season, Knox coached the Bulldogs in the TaxSlayer Bowl, led them to a win over Louisville. So, Greg Knox has been here before. He's taken over a team where Dan Mullen has been gone. Georgia coach Kirby Smart asked yesterday about the Dan Mullen firing. He said, quote, "At the end of the day, I hate it for Dan because I think Dan's a good person. It's a tough situation, but it's a profession we chose to be in. I know Dan will be fine. He will be perfectly fine." So a little sympathy there from the Georgia coach for the former Florida coach. Over to LSU, some news yesterday is defensive back Eli Ricks, who was a former 5-star cornerback. He's out for the season because of shoulder surgery. He has not played in weeks, but he is apparently looking for a change of scenery, according to Sam Spiegelman of Rivals. Ricks played in all 6 of LSU's games this year before he was sidelined for injury. He made 1 pick to go with 1 pass breakup. He picked off 4 passes last season in the mix to be an early round draft pick in the 2023 class. But now he's headed to the transfer portal. Coach O, talking with the media yesterday, said, "I haven't spoken to Eli. I haven't talked to his mom. I heard the same reports you did. I guess they're true. I don't know if they are or not." Kind of a weird situation with Coach O already on the way out. He's kind of saying, that's for the next guy to figure out. Over at Auburn, they are preparing to host the Iron Bowl this weekend against Alabama. And look, while Auburn can't punch their ticket to the SEC championship game like they thought they maybe had a chance to 2 weeks ago, Bo Nix, he's hitting the media rounds and adding some fuel to the fire. Bo Nix, speaking with the next round on Monday, pointed to some controversial calls going Alabama's way during a narrow win over Arkansas this past weekend. Bo Nix threw shade at SEC officiating and said, look, just a few of those obviously controversial calls that happened in that game, it raises some questions for sure, I guess, unless you're an Alabama fan. That's just part of the game. We've discussed it over and over. That's not going to change no matter what happens. It was a good game for sure. Now, the host gave Nix a chance to clarify his comments, and he doubled down. Bo Nix said, "I think legitimately you watch the game, and anybody who is unbiased would think something is different. It is what it is. It's kind of how it's always been. It's part of the game, and they have good players. Can't take that away from them." So maybe Bo Nix is throwing the trash talk out there because he knows he's not playing in this game. He's been hurt. He's done for the year. TJ Finley is going to have to take the brunt of it from Alabama, but always good fodder for the Iron Bowl. But the Iron Bowl doesn't need any bulletin board material, but Bo Nix is helping fuel the fire here. So very interesting. We'll see Auburn response this weekend. Over at Tennessee, head coach Josh Heupel said that Saturday's regular season finale at home against Vanderbilt is going to be emotional. He said they will honor their seniors for Senior Day. He added he was especially proud of how well this group of seniors bought in when he came in as the new head coach. He said, quote, facing adversity and running right into it, never losing faith, just continuing to compete and grow. They bought into a new coaching staff, and they've all become great leaders. Heupel said sometimes with a new coach, the older players are reluctant to buy into the new guy. He said that has not been the case at all in our program. And look, it's shown on the field. These guys have bought in, and the results have been way better than I think a lot of people expected from Tennessee in year one of Josh Heupel. Over at Missouri, Eli Drinkwitz, he helped steer Missouri's season around a couple weeks ago. Tigers have won 3 of their last 4 games, and yesterday, Coach Drinkwitz at his weekly presser said, look, depth chart, egos, continue to figure out who really wants to be here, continue to mold the team and togetherness. He said everybody's got to be able to push in the same direction. When you have the best teams, you sacrifice a little bit of your individuality. And he said you sacrifice a little bit of your ego. You realize it's not about you. It's about what we can accomplish together. That's how they've been successful these past couple of weeks, and that's how they've been able to pull out some wins that people didn't think maybe they could. So congrats to him. He's had a nice rebound of a season after things were not going very well a month ago. So congrats to Eli Drinkwitz. They'll finish off with Arkansas this coming Friday. And there you have it. That is around the conference. When we return, we're going to discuss the openings at LSU and Florida and some of the names that are being tallied about for both of those jobs. That is next. Thank you guys again for making Locked On SEC your first listen every day. Need to remind you guys about our friends over at NetSuite. Look, this is it. The putt to win the tournament. If you sink it, the championship is yours. But on your backswing, your hat falls over your eyes. Is this how you want to run your business? Poor visibility because you're still relying on spreadsheets and outdated finance software? To see the full picture, you need to upgrade to NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite is the #1 cloud financial system to power your growth with visibility and control of your financials, inventory, HR, planning, budgeting, and more. NetSuite is everything you need to grow all in one place. 93% of surveyed businesses increased their visibility and control after they upgraded to NetSuite. Over 27,000 businesses already use NetSuite. And right now, through the end of the year, NetSuite is offering a one-of-a-kind financing program to those ready to upgrade at netsuite.com/lockedonncaa. Head to netsuite.com/lockedonncaa for special end-of-year financing on the #1 financial system for growing businesses, netsuite.com/lockedonncaa. Of course, if you're a college football fanatic and you haven't tried out PrizePicks yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. This is the last week of the regular season for college football. You definitely want to go check out PrizePicks. They offer more college football props than anyone in the world. They got all-star players of the Power 5, mid-majors. They offer any prop you can think of, from yardage to touchdowns, even interceptions thrown. All of our users that deposit and use our promo code LOCKEDON, LOCKEDON, you'll receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100. Go check out their award-winning app. You find it on the App Store, Google Play. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It is that easy, and they offer safe and fast withdrawals. Don't hesitate. Go check them out. PrizePicks.com. Use our promo code LOCKEDON, or go to your App Store. Download the app today. PrizePicks is daily fantasy made easy. Rolling along here, Locked On SEC. And look, we got to jump right into this because we have 2 monster job openings in the SEC, and I feel like the LSU opening is going to be filled very soon. In fact, I think right after the Texas A&M game this Saturday, probably Sunday or Monday, I think LSU will be making an announcement. Florida, look, they're going to have to move quick as well. You move on from Dan Mullen, you better have a plan B or a plan C or a plan D. So let's jump right into it. Look, several weeks ago, the LSU job opened up. The team announced Coach Ed Orgeron would no longer be the head coach at LSU, but said he would finish out the rest of the season. Of course, Dan Mullen relieved of his duties this past Sunday. You have the SEC has now opened up two of the bigger powers in the conference when it comes to football. Both programs have combined for 5 of the past 18 national championships. It's a huge chunk. LSU won it in 03, 07, and 19. Florida got to go back a little further, 06 and 08. But two premier programs. Let's start with LSU. Their coaching staff has reportedly zeroed in on 3 candidates, and an announcement could come as soon as a matter of days. The 3 leading candidates they have for LSU are Baylor head coach Dave Aranda, Louisiana Lafayette head coach Billy Napier, and Iowa State head coach Matt Campbell. This is coming from a report from Glenn Gilbo of Outkick. Now, we'll start with Dave Aranda. He is 45. He appears to be in the lead as he has quickly turned around that Baylor program. They are 9-2 currently, 6-2 in the Big 12. They were ranked number 11 in the college football playoff rankings last week after upsetting Oklahoma. Aranda has got a strong reputation. He was a very successful defensive coordinator at LSU from 2016 to 19. Left for Baylor after the Tigers won it all at the end of the 2019 season. Prior to that, he was a coordinator at Wisconsin, consistently had highly ranked defenses in his years there. And Les Miles saw him and said, I got to get this guy down to Baton Rouge. And of course, Coach O worked well with him and route to winning the 2019 national championship. So Dave Aranda would make a lot of sense. Another guy high on LSU's list, Billy Napier. He has the ULL Raging Cajuns at 10-1 this season, 7-0 in the Sun Belt Conference in his 4th year there. He's previously coached at Arizona State, Alabama, and Clemson. So he's got ties to Saban. He learned under the great one. Now, look, the Saban disciples don't always have great success. We've seen the Will Muschamps struggle at different stops. Kirby Smart is finally reaching the pinnacle and seems to be having great success. And finally, Jimbo Fisher broke through and broke the Saban assistant curse and actually beat Nick Saban this year. But albeit, Saban assistants don't always equal success on the field. So Billy Napier, maybe some reservations there, but there is no doubt what he has done at ULL turned them into a power there in the Sun Belt and consistency. Can he recruit? Well, if you keep him in the state of Louisiana, he just goes up the road an hour east from Lafayette to Baton Rouge. You would think he already knows a lot of the high school coaches, has a lot of talent there. So he would make sense from that aspect as well. But if you're a program like LSU, do you really want to be dipping into the Sun Belt for your head coach and not going to a Power 5 conference? That is maybe one knock on Napier. Another name, the third name being thrown around, is Matt Campbell. And look, we talked about it already. Matt Campbell has been in a 6th season at Iowa State. Not having the best of year. They dropped to 6-5, 4-4 in the Big 12 this season, but they went 9-3, 8-1 last year. Campbell went 35-15 in 5 seasons at Toledo. That was prior to getting to Iowa State. Look, anybody who can win at Toledo and be relevant deserves a little bit of attention. He's 41 years old, and it's worth noting, prior to him getting to Iowa State, they were largely irrelevant in the Big 12. Like, they were the doormat of the Big 12. Prior to Campbell's arrival. He has made them relevant, and he's knocked off some big dogs throughout the years that he's been there, particularly competing with Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Baylor, TCU. So Matt Campbell definitely one worth keeping an eye on. A lot of people thought maybe he would jump ship last year or the year prior, as his name was ballied about for some big jobs out there. This could be the spot. Maybe having a down year at Iowa State, maybe it's a little bit easier for him to jump ship. And look, just because he didn't have the best of years this year at Iowa State shouldn't make it any less exciting for LSU. Look, if a guy won at Toledo and Iowa State, imagine what he could do at an LSU with those resources. So those are the big names being thrown about for the LSU job. Now, when it comes to Florida, the latest sports betting odds came out yesterday on some of the names that are being thrown out for Florida. Now, right at the top of the list, Billy Napier's name is up there for Florida. We just talked about his possibility with LSU. Billy Napier is 4-1 odds to be the next Florida Gators head coach. Behind him, Lane Kiffin at 5-1. I think what Lane Kiffin needs to ask himself is, if they win the Egg Bowl this Thanksgiving night, he'll get to 10 wins. That's great for Ole Miss. That's a fantastic year. But can he ever break through? Can you beat the Bama? Can you win the SEC West? Can you take Ole Miss to the national scene, to the playoff, win a conference title there? Something they don't know a lot about at Ole Miss. Or does he feel like, if I jump ship to LSU or Florida, I'll have better resources to accomplish that feat? I don't know. I can't get in Lane Kiffin's head. All I know is this. Lane Kiffin doesn't stay places very long. Every year he was at FAU, his name was thrown about. What job is he going to jump for? Eventually jump for Ole Miss. He's done a great job there. But Lane Kiffin does not stay places very long. He's always looking for the next big challenge, the next big thing. We'll see if he opts to leave for the LSU or Florida job. Mario Cristobal at Oregon, his name's been thrown about 6-1 odds. But behind him, a name at 8-1 has been catching some buzz the last day or so. Bob Stoops, the former Oklahoma head coach, his name's been thrown around for a couple different openings. It's unclear whether the 61-year-old wants to get back into coaching, but he publicly spoke on the USC rumors a couple of months back. Bob Stoops at Florida would be really interesting, but has the game passed him by? Has it changed a little bit too much? We'll see. His name is in the mix. Of course, Bill O'Brien, the offensive coordinator at Alabama, his name is in the mix. We've heard his name rumored for LSU. He is 16-1 to be the Florida head coach. He's helped the Crimson Tide establish the nation's 8th best passing offense this year with Bryce Young, 344 yards a game. And Bryce Young is right there, one of the Heisman frontrunners. So I think Bill O'Brien, you consider his name. James Franklin, consider maybe a little bit more of a long shot at Penn State. But his name's in the mix. And just some other ones to keep an eye on. Mark Stoops at Kentucky. Eric Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator with the Chiefs. Dan Quinn, Dave Clawson, Deion Sanders. And you want to go real long shot, Urban Meyer at 50-1 to return and be the Florida head coach. So there you go. That is the latest on the LSU and Florida head coaching searches. And again, expect a name very soon. If I had to put my money on it right now, right this minute, I'd say Lane Kiffin jumps for the Florida job. I'd say Dave Aranda goes to LSU. That could all change in the next 24 hours. That's just my prediction as of this recording. When we return, we'll touch on the SEC Players of the Week in Week 12. That's coming your way next. Quick minute here for our friends at BetOnline. It is Thanksgiving, and you guys know what that means, football. And nothing goes better with football and turkey than betting. BetOnline has got you covered all holiday season, more props, odds, and lines than ever before. And BetOnline remains your number one spot for all the sports action this Thanksgiving. Head over to their new updated website on your desktop or mobile device. Sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus with our promo code LOCKEDON. That's LOCKEDON. That'll get you your bonus. And it's not just football. BetOnline's got pro, college hoops, NHL, boxing, UFC, even your favorite Vegas casino games. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, we are stuffed with deals this Thanksgiving. Our final segment of Locked On SEC, and let's just jump right into it. On Monday, the SEC recognized Alabama quarterback Bryce Young and several others from Saturday, handing out their Players of the Week awards for Week 12 in the SEC. In all, there were 8 players recognized this week, with 5 schools being represented. But we start Offensive Player of the Week. It was Bryce Young at Alabama. Fantastic showing from him. Over 500 passing yards. They needed every bit of it to hang on to beat Arkansas. And Bryce Young right there in the Heisman conversation for one of the favorites this year. He has had a fantastic season. Alabama's defense at times, not the best. They've had some struggles, but the offense has been really, really good. Outside of that stinker they kind of put up against LSU a couple weeks ago, Bryce Young definitely deserves to be in the Heisman conversation. Defensive Player of the Week, Henry To'oTo'o at Alabama. He was fantastic. A couple sacks in the game against Arkansas. And the former Tennessee Volunteers really had a nice season for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Got co-special teams players of the week. Velus Jones Jr., kick returner at Tennessee, and Harrison Mevis, the kicker at Missouri. Both those guys named co-special teams players of the week. Defensive line player of the week, Trajan Jeffcoat over at Missouri. Can't say enough about what that defensive line or the defense at Missouri, how much better they've been these last couple of weeks. They were so bad a couple of weeks ago. Gave up 62 to Tennessee. They've turned it around these last couple of weeks and wins over Auburn and South Carolina. Your co-offensive line players of the week, Caleb Warren at Ole Miss and Jovan Gwynn over at South Carolina. Both those guys had nice performances this week. And your freshman of the week, how about Trey Jones, fullback at South Carolina? So those are your SEC Week 12 Players of the Week. One other mention, the Butkus Award, given out every year to the nation's top linebacker this year. They just announced there are 6 finalists currently for the award. The winner will be announced following the season. 2 SEC linebackers in the conversation. Nakobe Dean of Georgia and Damone Clark of LSU, both still in the running. Got a few other guys still in the mix. Darian Beavers, Leo Chenal, Devin Lloyd, several other guys across college football, but 2 to watch for, Nakobe Dean and Damone Clark. Nakobe Dean has recorded 50 tackles, 4.5 sacks, 2 picks, 2 pass breakups, and a forced fumble this year for Georgia. At times been one of Georgia's best defensive players. I think I've even said on this podcast before, one of the best linebackers in the country. And then Damone Clark, he's had 125 tackles for LSU this year. He leads, by the way, if you missed this one, leads all of college football in tackles. Damone Clark has been a monster. Last season, he was out of position at times. That defense that they ran under Bo Pelini was not great at LSU, but Clark has really stepped up his game this year. Again, leads all of college football, 125 tackles, 11.5 for a loss, 3 sacks, 3 pass breakups, an interception, and 2 forced fumbles. He has had a fantastic year. So really, my opinion, you can't go wrong with either guy, Damone Clark or Nakobe Dean, but hopefully one of those guys win it and not some of those other guys at Wisconsin and Utah and Cincinnati. Keep it in the SEC, and there you have it. Those are the finalists for the Butkus Award. A quick reminder for you guys, Locked On Bets is your daily one-stop shop for all your gambling needs. Locked On Bets, hosted by your boy Q, with expert analysis and insight from Lee Sterling. Go check them out and get yourself ready for all the games and action happening this weekend. That is going to do it for me, Chris Gordy. I will talk to you guys tomorrow right here on Locked On SEC, getting you guys ready for the games happening this weekend. A monster Egg Bowl coming up Thanksgiving night. Got a big one with Mizzou and Arkansas on Friday. And then, of course, whole slate of games, including the Iron Bowl, LSU, Texas A&M. Some really, really good games in the final week of the season for the SEC. I'm Chris Gordy. Talk to you guys tomorrow right here on Locked On SEC.